परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं तं नमामि. Nithyanandam. We welcome all the participants and the viewers of today's Utsavamurti Alankaram series. Today is the 6th day of the class, and today we will be looking into the Talay Alankarams and more versions of the Talay Alankarams. So before we move into the Alankaram itself, we would just like to give a small context and an understanding for all the new people who are watching us live as on what is Utsavamurti Alankaram. So Utsavamurti Alankaram basically denotes into processional deity decoration art. But to make it more understandable, this is the science where how we hold a deity or a god. For example, if we love Paramashiva so much, then we have lots of visualizations and the fantasies that we have of Paramashiva, how he would look, how he would be sitting, how he would be standing, or how he would be dancing. All these, for each one of us, it would be a different fantasy and a different imagination, a different visualization. So bringing out that visualization that we have in our inner space of Paramashiva into reality, into the physical outer world, is this science of Alankaram. So in this we do various Alankarams. For example, if we have the deity of Swamiji, a standing deity of Swamiji, you can decorate him and you can bring out your entire fantasy of how Swamiji would look onto the deity by dressing him up on the deity. That giving us a chance, by that he is giving us a chance for us to experiment and play with him in the most closest and the most dearest form that we can have Swamiji. So like this you can do Alankarams for various deities in various forms. You can have Swamiji sitting, sleeping, dancing, whatever you want. You can build on your fantasy of Swamiji, your visualization of him onto the deity. So in today's class we will be looking into we'll be continuing the learning of the Talay Alankarams, and after this Talay Alankaram sessions we will be moving on to the actual Kattumurti, where we will be doing the different postures of Swamiji's Alankaram. So today we are looking into the Uchi Konde Alankaram and the Kreedam Alankaram. This is the Alankaram where you decorate the head of Swamiji in a specific posture. You can see this photo right now. So you can see that Swamiji's head is in a straight form. It's straight upright, like how Shiva has his jata, Paramashiva has his jata. Like that we have Swamiji's hair, and this is the first photo based of which we are going to do the Alankaram. And the next one is the Kreedam Alankaram, where we will be learning how to decorate the deity with the crown. How do we put on the crown for a deity and make the deity look with the crown? This is the Kreedam Alankaram. So we will be moving on to the Alankaram itself. Nithyananda. Nithyananda. So yes. So now we will be starting the Kattumurti, the Tala Alankaram, and we will be starting with the Uchikonde Alankaram, which is basically the way that Paramashiva ties his Jata upright. Okay. So we will be starting the Uchikonde Alankaram. So as you can see, now we are going to do the Uchikonde Alankaram, and Uchikonde Alankaram, the Uchikonde Alankaram, as I was telling you yesterday, it is 1.5 the proportion of the head of the deity. So I need to heighten it a bit. Yeah, this is fine. And we will again be tying the stick in the same way which we have tied yesterday. And now we have the cloth. So take a old sari, and there you go. You start rotating the sari. You can see we are rotating the cloth, the first sari, onto the head of the deity. And as I was telling you yesterday, we are always start from the base, and then only we move towards the higher part of it. Okay, and tuck in the first cloth, and have a base ready. But this is actually too thin, so you need to use another cloth. You need to use another sari to fill the head of the deity. And there you go. You start rotating the second cloth. And always, as I was telling you yesterday, do it tightly. Do not do it loosely. And yeah, we are done. So and there we go. Done. We have done the basic base wrapping of the cloth for the Alankaram. And now we will be putting on the black cloth just like yesterday. We will take the black cloth in the center, put it on the deity and cover half the forehead, and then we will take it like this. Okay, watch very closely. We will take it like this, rotate it, wrap it around, and then tie it in the back. And tightly, always do it tightly, and there you go, you have it. Okay, so this is basically the Uchikonde Alankaram, where we have tied the cloth right now. So it looks like the head and the hair of the deity. Now what we will be doing is, we will be tying the jewels onto the deity. So here we have a band. I'm gonna first, as I was telling yesterday, we will be doing the from the bottom to the higher ends of it. Okay, always tie the jewels as much as possible. Tie the jewels to the head. Do not pin it unless it's necessary, because pins will not stand for that long. And today we're going to add a new element to this, which is the Rudraksha Mala. And I'm going to rotate it, and another rotation, and leave it here. Okay. And then we have another band we're going to tie here. Always when you put Rudraksha on a black cloth, make sure you tie a jewel below it or above it, so that you can see the Rudraksha in contrast to the head. See, if you do not put a jewel here, the Rudraksha will camouflage itself due to its color with the black cloth. So if you put a jewel, the contrast will be seen and you can see the Rudraksha. So you can either put it below or higher, that's up to you. And now I'm just going to pin in some jewels here and there. And here one. We have the rectangular jewels that we were using yesterday, the rectangular pendants. So I'm going to take a pin and secure it up there. Right here. One. And here another one. In this place you can also use different types of jewels. If you have the moon, or you have the sun jewel, or you have the snake jewel, then you can use all of those for securing the head of the deity. It would give a more Shiva look to Swamiji's Alankaram. If you prefer to do the Devi type Alankarams, then you can use these rectangular pendants, or you can use the round ones, like how a bride would have the two round pendants on her head and her hair. That same way you can have it. And now I'm going to add one more jewel here. Okay, and I'm going to finish it here. Yes. So there you go. We have done the Uchikonde Alankaram. See, the Uchikonde Alankaram, we have various ways in which you can tie the jewels. You can also tie the jewel in a cross, or you can do straight lines, or you can do this method, or you can actually fill it fully with just pendants. So depending on your creativity and the design you want to create on the head of the deity, you can change the jewels according to that. Some people even use a flower mala around the head to show the Uchikonde also. So now we are done with this Uchikonde Alankaram, and just I wanted to add a small element to it. As I was telling you, some people have used flower malas to create a border for the whole Alankaram, and since we don't have any malas right now, we can take a long arm, a long necklace, and we can put it here on the top. And see, you can do this. Yes. So this is one more element you can add to the Uchikonde Alankaram, and then turn the necklace in straight direction, make it look front. Okay, and see, you have a kind of a sun ray, a kind of a circle around the head right now. And be sure to not let any loose ends out. And so that we have done the Uchikonde Alankaram. And next we will be doing the Kreedam Alankaram. So let me remove these jewels first. The Kreedam Alankaram is a very simple one, but a very necessary Alankaram that we need to learn, because most of the deities in all the temples are with the Kreedam only, and there have been various ways and various different types of Kreedam Alankarams in many different temples. Some temples just directly put on the Kreedam onto the head of the deity, and some temples they use this method of putting the black cloth and putting all the cloth and then putting the Kreedam. So we follow the second method more often. We have both methods of directly putting it on the head of the deity or putting the black cloth and doing it, depending on which temple we are following. For example, if we are following the Meenakshi Amman temple in Madurai, then they do not put the black cloth, so we avoid the black cloth. But which temples follow, like Kalahastishwara temple, they follow the black cloth method, so we do that also. Now I have a crown, and again, just for to remind everyone, even the crown should be 1.5. If I'm putting it beside Swamiji's face, the crown should be 1.5 of the deity's face. Okay, so that when we put it on, it stands. Now for putting on the Kreedam, you will need to remove the excess cloth that you have tied earlier, because the Kreedam needs to fit in exactly. It should not be too big. The cloth should not be too big, or it would not stay. The Kreedam would fall out. So I'm going to remove only the red cloth and leave the black cloth on. Okay. Secure this a little bit more tighter. So this, before you put on the black cloth, it is wise to test the crown once. So put on the crown once and test it. And now you can see that it is standing. Now you can see the crown is standing and there is a little gap here. That gap is perfectly fine. So now once you have tested the crown, you can again take the black cloth, hold it in the center, put half on the forehead of the deity, again twist the cloth, tie it behind in one knot. You do not need to do triple knots or double knots, just in one knot. That should be enough. And now you can put on the crown. So you put on the crown, and always remember that when you put on a crown, you only use a full crown. Never use a half crown. Use only a full crown. See, this is what I mean by a full crown, that in all directions it is fully covered. Okay, it should not be a half crown where only one half is a crown, another half there is nothing. So, and also when you put on the crown, you should remember that crowns or Kreedams represent the royalty or the supremacy of the deity. Whether it is a king or a god, when you put on the crown, that crown represents their supremacy, their authority, and their royalty. So you should be very careful to ensure that never in any point of time the crown falls off the head of the deity, because when the crown falls off the head of a deity, that literally means blasphemy. So to avoid that blasphemy, we should ensure that crown never falls off. How do we do that? So now this crown is 1.5 the size of Swamiji's head. So as you can see, I have added this much of cloth, so that when I put on the crown doesn't fall off. If I only rotate the black cloth only for this much of length, and I remove the stick and I just rotate this much and I put the crown, there are many chances the crown can fall off, and that should not happen, because that is directly disrespecting the royalty and the supremacy of that god. So now we will put on the crown. So secure the crown very firmly. Make sure that you press it in and you check that it doesn't fall. So now it won't fall off. See, the crown doesn't fall off, it stands. And now for the rest of the part, see, there is now a plenty amount of black cloth left of the black head, the black hair basically shown. So for this part, what you can do is, if it is a female deity, you can put on the neti chuti, okay, which is the bridal headband for a female. deity, or otherwise if it's a male deity, you can take on a band like this, okay, and you can put it here. See, so we are adding on to the crown. We are adding on to the crown. So tie it up and ensure that it is firm, no loose ends, and there you go. This is the Kreedam Alankaram. Now, if you want, you can add on the Trinetra, the sun, the moon, etc. But usually we avoid that because we want to give more of a real look onto the Kreedam Alankaram. It should not look like something is sitting on the hair of the deity, but when a person wears the crown actually sits correctly to the forehead. So we want to minimalize the black hair being shown. So this is the Kreedam Alankaram. So, as you can see now, the Uchikonde Alankaram, we have learned the Uchikonde Alankaram and the Kreedam Alankaram today, which is the Alankaram of the Paramashiva's Jatas, how Paramashiva would have his Jatas upright, that form and that style we have learned today, and how do we put on the crown for a deity. So as I was telling you, this form of Alankaram, the Uchikonde Alankaram and the Kreedam Alankaram, is both very famous and very well known in all temples. Whether you go to a Vaishnavite temple like Sri Rangam or Venkateshwara, Tirumala Venkateshwara Swami, or you go to any Parashakti temple like Kanchipuram Kamakshi Amman temple or Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple, or you go to any North Indian Devi temples, you can always see that most of the Devis have the crown on them. And same for Paramashiva, whether it's the Arunachaleshwara temple or the Kalahastishwara temple or the Madurai Sokkanadar Sundareshwara deity, all of them have the Kreedam Alankaram and the Uchikonde Alankaram, very well known, and one of the most prominent head Alankarams done for the deity. So as I was telling you, keeping the crown is a very important and a very sacred part of the Alankaram, because as I was telling you, the crown represents the royalty, the supremacy and the sovereignty of that deity. So ensure that when you put on the crown, that the crown is standing firm and the crown does not fall off, because the crown falling off means of blasphemy and means of disrespecting the sovereignty of that deity, of that god. So be very, very careful and be very sure when you do that. So with this, we have come to the end of today's session, and like yesterday I had given a homework. So today's homework is for you to go on and find 5 different photos of Kreedam Alankaram, 5 different types of crowns that are used in the Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. As you can see, the Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple, they have various crowns that were offered to the deities of Meenakshi and Sundareshwara from the time when they were living in the physical body till date. There have been various priceless crowns being offered to them, from the Semmat Kreedam, the Mambalakonde Kreedam, the Uchikonde Kreedam, and the Mughal crown, and then the Roman crown and such. From the time of Roman times, from the Mughal times, those kings have offered various ornaments including crowns to the deity of Meenakshi and Sundareshwara. So please go online and find for 5 different crowns of Meenakshi Amman and Sundareshwara, Lord Sundareshwara. Their Utsav Murtis would have been decorated various times in these various crowns. So go online and find those 5 different types of crowns and please post them on your Facebook profile with the hashtag Nithyananda Alankaram. So let me spell it out for you. Nithyananda, another Alangaram, and also hashtagging Kailasa. So please do this homework before you come for tomorrow's session, joining us at 2 p.m. IST. So with this, I thank all of you for joining us today and learning on the various Talayalankarams. And tomorrow, we will be looking into another different type of Talayalankaram, another 3 different types of Talayalankarams. And after that, we will be moving on to the Kattumurti part of the Utsavamurti Alankaram. So, Utsavamurti Alankaram itself is divided into various dimensions. So, for example, the Tala Alankaram, and then we have the Poo Alankaram, which is the flower Alankaram, and the Kattumurti Alankaram, and various such things. So, tomorrow we will be looking into 3 different Tala Alankarams, and then we will be moving on to the Kattumurti Alankaram. So, with this, I thank all of you for joining us today and being a part of this great revival and learning this great science. Let's end with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Tatsat. Sarvam Bhagavat Sri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om